Humans sought to become stronger by transplanting the hearts of demons. And within me resides the most powerful Octophan demon. Yet, I dare not use this terrifying power. For centuries, humans have stood against demons. Countless human warriors have perished at the hands of demons. Now, C2 Lu is on the brink of death after being brutalized by demons. To prevent a repeat of the massacre from 60 years ago, where all my comrades fell, I decided to risk possession and use the power of demons. When I opened my eyes again, everything felt unfamiliar. Even my body gave me a sense of extreme weakness. I quickly started gathering any useful information. At the forefront, a rugged instructor was recounting humanity's greatest battle. I was stunned to learn a series of events. It has been 60 years since my death. Humans are unaware of the Octophan demon's existence. They naively believe that battle left the demons gravely weakened. The instructor, who was passionately lecturing, noticed my astonished expression in the corner. "What's your name?" Hearing this, I was taken aback. I then glanced at the name tag on my chest. In this life, I am also called Yang. You share a name with the strongest warrior. Yet you lack even basic warrior qualities. You disgrace that name. With that, the instructor delivered a heavy punch. In my frail state, I couldn't dodge and was sent flying. The instructor then snorted coldly. "In the upcoming warrior assessment, I'll keep a close eye on you. Everyone, fall in. Head to the testing site for your physical fitness exam." The candidates all follow the instructor's lead. But there are always troublemakers in this world. A white-haired girl approached me as I lay on the ground. "Daring to call yourself Aang? Do you think sharing the same name gives you the same strength?" Her words made my teeth grind in anger. But a kind-hearted person nearby stopped me before I could retort. This girl's name is C2 Lu. She's the eldest daughter of the renowned martial family, the C2 clan. If you offend her, you'll regret it later. With the help of this kind soul, Xiao Zhuang, I struggled to make it to the fitness assessment site. As the strongest warrior in my past life, I knew this was my chance to prove myself. Soon, under the watchful eyes of everyone, I began the test. And I proved something. I achieved the slowest running speed in history, and the weakest wrist strength ever recorded. The weakest leg strength. I earned the last place in the fitness test rankings. But I didn't give up, because I knew the most important test was still to come. That is the synchronization rate with the grafting device. This enables warriors to possess demon-like power. And synchronization rate is the key factor. In my previous life, my average synchronization rate was above 96%. Even if this body lacks physical strength, synchronization depends on willpower. Soon, everyone arrived at the testing ground. One by one, candidates equipped with grafting devices underwent the test. Since it was their first time using the device, many were overwhelmed by the monster core's powerful energy. They chose to withdraw. Only a few managed to pass the 10% threshold. Of course, there were some exceptional talents. C2 Lu was one of them. She ranked first with a synchronization rate of 39%. Even the instructor looked at her with newfound respect. But talent like hers wouldn't even qualify for my guard team in my past life. You clueless brats. Wait and see, don't be too shocked. Humans sought to grow stronger by transplanting demon hearts. And I have 6 hearts within me. In my previous life, as the strongest human warrior, I achieved the highest synchronization levels among humanity. Because of that, I was chosen. I became the ultimate vessel for the supreme demon. Though this body is weak in this life, I am not afraid, because synchronization is all about willpower. The cores are categorized into 4 types. Red enhances strength, yellow boosts defense, green accelerates recovery speed, blue increases mobility. There are also the purple illusion cores, and the black cores symbolizing time and space. I chose the red core for strength enhancement. As the grafting device connected, a dazzling light lit up the room. All the candidates were stunned. Under my control, the synchronization rate soared to 740%. The previous highest was only 37%. But I was still unsatisfied. I used to maintain a synchronization rate of 96%. Push it further. The next moment, a surge of immense power radiated from my body. The synchronization rate began to rise rapidly. Even the examiner nearby was dumbfounded. The rate kept climbing until it hit 80%. A terrifying wave of energy swept through the room. This is the difference between you and me, kids. Now you see the cost of underestimating me. But just as I was about to revel in my triumph, my consciousness began to sink. A monstrous shadow appeared, devouring the power I had just gained. Outside my mind, the grafting device couldn't withstand the energy. It shattered. Moments later, I spat out a mouthful of blood. The staff member's device showed my synchronization rate plummeted to 10%. This news quickly reached the examiner. Though it was unbelievable, the examiner could only sigh and accept it. Fortunately, 10% was enough to pass the test. Back in the resting room, I gradually regained consciousness. I couldn't help but feel puzzled by what just happened. I had clearly reached an 80% synchronization rate. Yet everyone lined up to head to the third testing zone. As I passed by the examiner, he noticed something unusual. My energy core had fallen out. When he picked it up and examined it, he saw that my energy core had shattered due to energy depletion. This indicated that, just moments ago, I might have truly achieved an extremely high synchronization rate. You've piqued my curiosity. I hope you deliver an outstanding performance in the next round of live combat. To protect humanity from demons, high walls were built around the cities. The gates would only open during the final test for reserve warriors. As for me, I was still grappling with the side effects of embedding the monster core earlier. But as I stepped out beyond the walls, suddenly, a figure sat on a throne made of countless skeletons. This being, who was in deep slumber, suddenly awoke as the energy swept over. How is this possible? There exists a demon of a higher rank than me? Even more terrifying, the visions caused by the energy were transmitted directly into my mind. Soon, under the instructor's arrangement, we were grouped into teams of 4. I found myself in a team with 3 of the most talented candidates. Before the test began, the instructor introduced us to the most important tool for resisting demons, the Dispelling Monolith. This is a special artifact capable of dispelling mist and repelling monsters. Our task this time was to enter the misty area, activate the dispelling device to clear the mist, and hunt the finless demon. The warriors would face unknown threats lurking within the mist. Becoming a warrior requires not only physical strength and talent, but also an unshakable spirit to withstand the mist's terror. Under the watchful gaze of the instructor, the test began. Meanwhile, atop the city walls, 3 figures observed us. They were Gao, captain of Hilo City's 2nd squad, Joel, captain of the 1st squad, and our chief examiner. This batch of recruits is impressive, said the examiner. The 2 captains were busy selecting the most outstanding candidates from the test, but the chief examiner remained silent, his gaze fixed solely on me. Before coming here, he had confirmed that there was nothing wrong with my core, yet I had somehow managed to shatter it by absorbing energy. Before he could make sense of it, a small fist struck him on the head. Are you sure you've confirmed the demon's rank? The testing area must be confirmed to contain only finless demons. The chief examiner nodded firmly in confirmation. For the safety of today's test, he had repeatedly verified this over several days. Hearing this, the captain of the 1st squad replied, "If even one demon with fins appears, we'll risk our lives to protect this batch of future warriors." Soon, it was our group's turn for the test. As the test began, the dispelling stone in my hand was snatched away. Before I could react, C2 Lu had already dashed forward with the stone. Watching this show off in action, I suppressed my anger, and a golden energy barrier suddenly appeared, repelling the beasts. His skillful use of the core's power even earned praise from the usually stern instructor. As the beasts were flung away, Snow stayed to guard the stone, while the rest of us charged toward the remaining monsters. The first to engage a beast was the usually silent Hoshino Kei. Equipped with the blue agility core, Kei used her speed advantage to slash at the monster repeatedly. In no time, dozens of wounds appeared on the creature. Then, with a flying kick, she sent the monster hurtling towards Snow. Snow, understanding her intent, gathered energy in his right hand, delivered a punch to the monster's abdomen. In the next moment, the monster was sent flying by the immense force. The coordination between the two was surprisingly effective, especially the girl, with the boost from the blue core. Her strikes became more rhythmic and precise. Meanwhile, the second battle unfolded on the field. C2 Lu leapt high into the air, drawing power from her core. In an instant, energy gathered into her blade. At the critical moment, healing energy transformed into poison, causing the monster to swell rapidly. Seeing this, C2 Lu quickly jumped down and sprinted away at full speed. She murmured a single word, "Explode." The monster in the distance immediately detonated. The focus then shifted to me. Unlike my classmates' flashy and exaggerated moves, my strikes were restrained and precise. Each strike hit the monster's vital points, First the neck, then the chest, and finally the abdomen. With just 3 strikes, I took down the monster. But I wasn't satisfied with this outcome. I wanted to use this real combat opportunity to test the limits of this frail body. I activated the red energy core. In the next moment, I lunged forward, charging at a distant monster. The demon swung a punch at me. I tilted my head and dodged. Then, it countered with a heavy punch to its abdomen. Following that, the demon winced in pain, and in retaliation, it aimed a kick toward my face. Unfortunately for the demon, I easily dodged it. Aang seized the opportunity to draw his combat blade. Charging it with energy, he thrust it into the demon's side. The demon cried out in pain, releasing an illusion. At that moment, Aang pulled out his blade, flipped backward to avoid an attack, and struck with another slash. The impact of the attack made it difficult for Aang to stabilize his retreat. This scene made C2 Lu and the others think that Aang was showboating and toying with the demon. However, the instructors watching from above praised Aang's demeanor, noting his seasoned movements. Little did they know, Aang was actually testing the limits of his current body. The conclusion he reached was clear. This body couldn't even handle one of his former skills. In short, this body was utterly useless. As the test concluded, Aang decided it was time to end the demon's life. Just as he charged toward the demon, something unexpected happened. A streak of red gas emerged from the ground, piercing straight through the demon. At that moment, Aang and his team were suddenly entangled in vines. Then something emerged from within the demon's body, spraying blood all over Aang. Looking ahead, a more powerful white demon appeared. Its overwhelming aura made the 3 everyone retreat immediately. Upon hearing this, scanning the area, tried to identify which human carried the demonic aura. Its oppressive presence froze everyone in place. C2 Lu and her 2 teammates shivered uncontrollably, unable to believe that this was a Fin demon. It felt like they'd be torn apart if they blinked. Facing such a terrifying demon, Aang also realized that this body was no match for a Fin demon. For the first time, Aang experienced the fear ordinary warriors described as demonic pressure. At that moment, the demon stopped pondering who possessed the demonic aura. It extended its hand to unleash a skill, determined to take everyone down. In the next moment, all 4 were struck by the demon's skill, their eyes rolling back as they collapsed. They collapsed to the ground instantly. At that moment, the captains finally arrived. Joel roared in fury, "Try touching them, I dare you." The demon merely smirked. Joel sensed something was wrong, and rushed forward, but it was too late. The demon retreated underground, taking Aang and the others with it. Joel and the others stared blankly at the ground, stunned that their 4 best recruits had been taken. Suddenly, the edge of the hole began to rumble loudly, before the captain's very eyes. The demon emerged from underground and fled rapidly into the distance. Captain Joel shouted, "Chase it!" In the mountains not far from the town, Joel and the second captain finally caught up at the raised ground's end. Given the chief examiner's meticulous nature, they had repeatedly confirmed the area beforehand. So why had a Fin demon appeared? Before Joel could say anything, the chief examiner's voice came from above. Without waiting for him to steady himself, the examiner asked urgently, "Where are the recruits? Why did you stop? Keep chasing them." His panicked expression betrayed his fear. This was completely unlike the composed chief examiner from before. "Tong Tong, calm down," said the second squad captain. "The trail ends here." It seems the Fin demon dove deeper underground at this point. The area ahead is uncharted. We can't rush in recklessly. Why is this happening? Last time, it took my brother right in front of me. That damn demon. It's all my fault for not verifying properly. It's my fault. Seeing this, the first squad captain couldn't bear to watch. "Tong Tong, don't be like this. This isn't your fault." Joel also spoke up. "Let's go back. The town will be in chaos without anyone watching. I understand how you feel, but we need to stay calm. We must figure out a way to rescue them." The chief examiner gently pushed aside Gao's hand on his shoulder. Then he stood up. "You all head back. I'll stay and look around. Don't worry about me." Just as Joel was about to say something, Gao raised a hand to stop him. He spoke gently to the chief examiner. "Tong Tong, promise me, you'll return before sunset, okay?" The chief examiner replied indifferently. "Got it." With that, he ran into the depths of the mist. "Joel, I know you want to stop him, but you need to understand. Back then, his brother was taken right in front of him. If his brother were still alive, he'd be the same age as those kids. Meanwhile, in a deep underground cavern, Aang slowly opened his eyes. To know? Then come closer. In an instant, a terrifying aura erupted. The vines binding Aang disintegrated instantly. Demon was blasted away. As it landed, Aang precisely stepped on the combat blade below. Picking it up into his hand, he immediately assumed an attack stance and slashed toward the demon. But the demon sidestepped effortlessly to evade. While counterattacking, the demon mocked. What an amusing insect. Aang relied on his past life's experience to dodge quickly, using several backward jumps to create distance. Thinking about how easily he handled fin demons in his past life, he felt frustrated that this one nearly killed him. Aang was full of unwillingness. But no matter the power gap, he was determined to save the other three. This demon was a red core type, agile but with vulnerable joints. Thinking of this, Aang charged forward. But then, the demon calmly raised its hand. With a simple motion, it reached for Aang, unleashing an oppressive force that completely immobilized Aang. Then, the demon pierced through Aang's chest. But unexpectedly, Aang grabbed the demon's arm, and with his blade, he stabbed it forcefully into the demon's joint. Aang exchanged injury for injury, tearing off the demon's arm. Don't underestimate me. I've slain countless fin demons like you. To his surprise, the demon smirked wickedly. In an instant, it kneed him hard in the stomach. Aang was sent flying, crashing into the wall before coming to a stop. Meanwhile, the demon's arm regenerated instantly. Ha ha ha, I'm a wood element red core demon. Seeing this, Aang's eyes widened in shock. It regenerated? The demons have evolved over the past half-century? The demon didn't give him time to think. It simply curled its finger, and vines wrapped around Aang's body. In the next moment, his body was pulled uncontrollably toward the demon. The demon grabbed him mid-air. Staring at the demon, Aang was filled with frustration. Would his friends die? Just like his comrades in his past life? At that thought, Aang slowly closed his eyes. The demon poked at the motionless Aang, drooling with excitement. The next moment, it opened its mouth wide, lunging to bite Aang's head. But just then, a strange voice emerged from within Aang. Eat me? In an instant, a terrifying aura repelled the demon. As Aang's power core cracked open, his body rose in an unnatural stance. Seeing this, Fin Demon couldn't comprehend what was happening. But the surging aura made it cry out in shock. A sixth fin? Aang seemed to hear the demons mutter. Sixth fin? In an instant, Aang's entire body turned blood red, and his hair became white. An even more powerful aura surged upward. In moments, it reached the heavens. The massive energy field blew open a skylight in the underground cavern. I am the sole eighth fin, the strongest of the red cores. Your king. The fin demon trembled all over. The eighth fin uttered calmly, kneel. The previously arrogant fin demon dropped to its knees. Bathed in sunlight, the eighth fin demon hovered in the air like a deity. Ha ha ha, say my name. Why you're Kai, the king fin. Aang merely stared at it indifferently. That piercing gaze seemed as though nothing in the world was worth his notice. For humans to evolve, they must devour demons. And the demon within me constantly pushes me to evolve. A fin demon evolves by consuming dark clans of the same rank. But for me, I must seize the body S of higher rank dark clans to awaken the memory of the fin. For a dark clan demon to grow a new fin, it requires the fin's memory. The fins on a demon's body are prominent protrusions. The more fins, the stronger they are. The eighth fin demon is destined to grow its eighth fin. Only then can it return to the human world. The eighth fin demon then questioned the smaller demon. Since my disappearance, are there still only 5 king fins? The smaller demon could only tremble in fear and reply, yes. Each demon core has a strongest entity, and the strongest is called a king fin. Upon hearing this, the eighth fin let out a derisive laugh and became enraged. Have they forgotten what they did to me 60 years ago? They not remember choosing this so-called strongest human warrior as my vessel? And after crossing over, this body turned out to be was laughably wasted on this situation. If I want to manifest again in the future, it will only happen when I am fully awakened. Aang, I sincerely hope you awaken to eighth fin soon. As soon as these words fell, the small demon knelt down. I'm willing to be your right hand and assist in your awakening. But the next second, the eighth fin clawed off its head. You're unworthy to be my right hand. Your only value is to become the key for this human warrior. To awaken the fin's memory. Human warrior, consider this my first gift to you. Don't disappoint me with your future ascensions. I need you to progress step by step to 8th fin. At that time, I will awaken from my slumber. As the 8th fin released control over Aang's body, a memory of the fin fused into Aang's energy core. With a violent reaction, the fin's memory successfully merged into Aang's cells. Shortly after, Aang's vision began to blur, until everything disappeared completely. When he reflection of what happened after that, should he reveal the truth about crossing over to ever, because Aang had been unconscious for 3 days. The team still had 0 points. Aang suddenly realized, I was unconscious for 3 days? 2.5 days later, under the watchful eyes of a crowd of villagers, Aang and the others gathered. At this moment, they officially became demon warriors. Thanks to their survival against a fin demon, they were assigned as a single team. The chief instructor was made their supervising captain, responsible for 9 teams in total. He encouraged them to stand out. Standing out meant climbing the team points leaderboard. They had to compete with the other 9 teams, as the lowest ranking team would temporarily be demoted to the cleaning squad. For your team, Sichuliu, who scored the highest in the assessment, will be the team leader. Both Snow and Hotoya agreed with the decision. Only Aang pouted, thinking, why wasn't it me? I'm supposed to be the strongest warrior called the king. After arranging everything, the instructor directed them to check the mission board for tasks they could take on. If you have any questions, come to me. Sichuliu immediately directed everyone to check the mission board. After all, we're 3 days behind. At that moment, Hotoya shouted, wait a second. There's something important. Hearing this, Sichuliu panicked. Did I forget something important? Ta-da. At that moment, Aang thought, maybe this little team isn't so bad after all. Their first team photo was quickly taken. Meanwhile, the chief examiner asked Joel for his thoughts. After all the finless demons around the cave had exploded. There were also traces of unknown demonic fragments in the cave. Joel's expression darkened. Are you suggesting it was those 4 kids? The chief examiner admitted he suspected Aang. There's an oddly familiar scent on him that I can't describe. Joel advised the chief to observe a bit longer. If anything unusual happens, we'll discuss it together. Back at the city's central mission board, Aang stared at the posted missions for a long time. There were only 3 A-level tasks left. These tasks were often the most challenging, and no one dared to take them. But in the next second, Sichuliu stepped forward. She ripped all the tasks off the board. Why choose one when you can choose them all? The first task was to clear the mist from the outskirts of town. Aang activated his energy core, and the straps on his combat suit transformed into nano wings. Visualizing their breakdown, he formed a weapon. A military blade materialized in his hand. Equipped with weapons, the team prepared for action. The 2 finless demons ahead posed the mission's biggest challenge. With Sichuliu's command, scatter, the other 3 charged toward the demons. The demons, sensing the approaching danger, let out loud, furious roars. Holding 3 A-level tasks, they had to finish quickly. First, Snow disrupted their vision. Snow lifted a massive boulder, blocking the demon's charge. He then instructed Hotoya and Aang to disable the demon's mobility. In an instant, the 2 carved countless wounds into the demons. Snow was also busy gathering the energy of his fist.